Hello everyone and welcome back to Hey Buck Outdoors. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 3 American-made fixed blades that I've personally reviewed. Are these the best of all time? I don't know. That's up for you to decide, but I'm going to go over 3 of the fixed blades made in the USA that I have personally reviewed and give you some personal opinions on why I think you should probably have them in your lineup of go-to gear. Do you like knives and other cool outdoors gear? Well, guess what? I do too, and I do what I can to put out good content for you guys. So I'd like to ask you to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Like, share, and comment helps promote the channel and the algorithm, as well as the videos, and helps me do what I do every single day. So let's jump right into the video. So these are the 3 fixed blades we're going to be looking at. I'm not going to dive too deep in the weeds since I already have full videos on all these guys, but I will go over some basic specs. This is the Benchmade Saddle Mount Skinner S30V 4.2-inch blade. This is your Gerber Strongarm. It's 420 high carbon, as you can see there, and it has a 4.8-inch blade, polymer sheet. The rest of these have leather. Then you have the Buck 119, which has a 6-inch blade as well as 420 high carbon. So let's dive on in to each one. I'm going to dive into probably my least favorite one, but I still use it a bit. This is the Gerber Strongarm. This is the Coyote model rather. As you can see, pretty good construction. I've had to do some work on the edge there to get it where I want it to be. Overall, it's not a bad outdoors blade, especially if you're in the service. I know a good friend of mine who carried one of these when we were deployed, and it seemed to suit him very well. I've never been the biggest fan of it, but that doesn't mean it's not a good knife. Full tank construction, these things are absolutely bulletproof. I just not a big fan of the edge profile on here. That being said, fits great in the hand, bomb proof. You can do anything with this thing. I've had this thing for a while, and something I've noticed is the sheath is loosening up on me, so I'm probably going to have some leather work done to get a good leather sheath for this guy, or might just mold the plastic. Either way, comes in between like 70 and 100 bucks, depending on where you can find them and if there's a deal running. They used to have a version of this in S30V. I don't believe they do that anymore. This is just 420 high carbon. Made in Portland, Oregon, so pretty cool. Nice to see that Gerber's finally bringing them back to the US. I know they have been for a little bit, but every once in a while you run into some poor quality control with their overseas stuff. Let's move on to knife number 2. So knife number two, wow, that's difficult to say fast. This is like well, not the most customized Buck 119, but pretty close to it. I've reviewed this thing in the past. This is probably one of my favorite knives. I got it as a Christmas gift a couple years ago. So the deal with it, it's got the standard Buck 119 blade. I know they offer S30V and S35VN sometimes, which is cool and all. Not what I wanted. I just got the 420 high carbon, which I appreciate what Buck does with their Boss heat treating. They get a really good balance between blade retention, or excuse me, edge retention and stability. You know, you can resharpen it and whatnot fairly easily. Beautiful clip point design. Now the basic, so this is like obviously customized. This came in around like 300 bucks, but the basic model comes in right around 70, 80 bucks. It comes with a black leather sheet. This one has a brown one, but you get the idea. Rat tail tang, excuse me, which is probably the biggest detriment to the Buck. So I wouldn't be using this thing as a crowbar, because you do have, you probably could rip the tang out of there, especially with, I don't even know what the black. It's not plastic, I forget the name that they use of the normal handles. Anyways, classic American design. Oh, let's drop the sheet though. Well, anyways, classic American design. This is designed to be a hunting knife, but I've used it for a lot. It's just a good little hiking knife, something to have around. You could chop some chop kindling, wood, whatever you want. Use it to cordage cut. I've used it for all those things. I've never had an issue. Buck has a really good warranty on it too. Made in the USA. Not all of their knives are made in the USA. However, the 119 definitely is. And if you want to splurge, they do have some awesome custom work that you can do. I got this one fit to my specifications: brass and micarta, walnut and elk antler inlays. I mean, pretty cool stuff. I definitely am a fan. I think this is probably one of the better knives. It hasn't really kept up with the modern age, but it is special nonetheless. Definitely brings something unique to the table that you don't see a lot of nowadays. I kind of also appreciate the buoy look and design. More of a classical guy. This is the kind of knife I prefer compared to some of the newer like polymer stuff. But anyways, that's not the point. I definitely think you can't go wrong with one of these, adding it to your lineup. So yeah, let's move on to knife number 3. So as you can see, knife number 3, we're getting into the Benchmade. So this is the Benchmade Saddle Mountain Skinner. I have used this thing pretty extensively. I am a fan of Benchmade, however, I don't know if you always get what you pay for. A lot of times you're going to be paying the butterfly tax. It is made in America, so that's yay for that. I'm definitely a big fan. This is more of a dedicated hunting knife, however, I've used this just as an outdoorsman's knife. Camping, cordage cutting, whatever. I've beat the living hell out of this thing, and it survived pretty good. Something I do appreciate, it's a little bit big to be cleaning like squirrels and, or regular small game. I guess you can do it for rabbits, but something I can appreciate as a hunter is you can see that jimping right there. You have 2 sets, so obviously if you want to just get a basic grip, got right there, but if you really want to get in and skin the hide off the mate, you can definitely get up there and do that. I will say S30V, very good. The edge holds up on this really well. I use, typically, what do I use to sharpen it? Right here. I'm a big fan of these work sharp field sharpeners, like 5-10 minutes, and I can get this thing to a perfect edge exactly where I want it. Full tang, which is really good. I forget how much this guy comes in at, correct me in the comments, I believe it's like north of 200 bucks. I got a pretty good deal on this, I got it for like 180 or something. Anyways, full tang construction, you do have a lanyard loop, which is good, especially if you're working in low light conditions. One thing I'm not the biggest fan of, but I understand why they did it. Just look at the profile of that handle. The handle skills are very thin. It's not an issue. Walnut's a good choice. I prefer it. However, if you're going to get blood and guts in your hands from cleaning game, it might get a little slick and you don't really have that much texture on that walnut. However, the good thing here is you do have some hex bolts holding those guys in, so you can take it off. And if you wanted to do like a paracord wrap or something else, maybe even micarta or G10, go for it. Like I said, 4.2-inch blade. It's almost a mixture between like a full flat or like a high saber. It's done really well. I have cleaned a couple different pieces of game with this, and it's about also just chopping up meat. If I'm going to be cooking around the house and we'll see how some of these type of hunting knives do, I'll definitely try them out. So I'm a fan. I will say one thing where Benchmade tends to drop the ball on a lot more than I would like is their leather sheaths. I mean, if I'm paying 200 bucks or more for a knife, I don't just expect a good knife, I expect a really good sheath. As you can see, there's something missing here. There's a leather latch similar to this, but not quite, that goes across here. But literally as soon as I got out of the box, I went to take the snap off and it broke. So I just took this thing off. It has decent retention though, as you can see. I wouldn't go, you know, whipping the thing across the room, but if it's hanging on your belt, I wouldn't be too worried. And then honestly, just take that snap off and wrap a little piece of leather or paracord through there, hold that blade in. Besides that, the sheath is okay. Not the best quality for what you're getting. I think they could have probably done a better job, but you know, that's neither here nor there. You do have a decent drainage hole on the back. It's relatively lightweight. I believe it comes in between like 7 and 8 ounces. I could be mistaken about that. But yeah, that's the blade. So we went over a myriad of blades today, more for like the tactically minded, something you carry overseas, whatever. The Gerber Strongarm, definitely a fan. It's not my first pick, but if I had nothing else to choose, I'd definitely go with that. Bomb proof, definitely something. If you want just a durable workhorse, probably go with that. The next, for your hunters and just general outdoorsmen, you've got the Benchmade. Is it worth the money? I think the blade is. I don't know about necessarily the sheath. I think you could probably do better on the sheath. Now, then, just for general utility and hunting, haven't really cleaned too much game with this guy, but the Buck 119 I definitely think brings a lot to the table. Even though it's a classic design, it still, I think, is relevant. So these are 3 great American-made fixed blades. Now, they do come in at different price points. I will wrap this up real quick so we can move on, but you've got, again, like 70 to 100 bucks. They fluctuate so much, especially with the economy right now. It's weird. This Benchmade's north of $200. I want to say it's around the $250 price point. And then the basic Buck 119 is around $70 to $80 as well. This is a customized one. It's way more, but for the basic model, you're going to be paying like $70 to $80. especially with Black Friday coming up or Cyber Monday, you can definitely probably get score deals on all these. So if you yourself want a good knife like this, or you know an outdoorsman who'd appreciate one of these, definitely keep these in mind. I'd like to purchase American products when I can. It's not always possible, but these are some good choices in that arena. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys staying tuned. Like, share, and comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see people on the next video.